Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Leif here once again. For Two Shy Guys, we bring my man Kev in. You know, we gotta go through the normal routine every day. See, wait for my man to get on. What's going on, Mo? How you doing, bro? What's up, Josh? Long time no see. See my man Kevin's watching. See, there he is. He got the ping. Good evening to you too, sir. What's up, Ken? Man, Trey, Georgia crew representing. There he is.
What's up?
What's going on, brother? What's up, Trey?
Hey, everybody, family, friends, Kendra, Trey, what's up? Maurice, what's Joshua? What's up, Blake, man? How you doing tonight, brother?
Doing good, man. Yeah, glad you could chime in, Josh. Glad you could chime in, my man. I know it's been a long time. Talking to my dude, Josh Cromer, high
Yeah.
school friend. Yeah, been knowing him for quite some time.
Well, awesome.
What's up, Blizdom?
It's good when you see old friends from year one.
Oh, yeah. That's terrible. Terrible.
Just the way I like it. Terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, so what's going on with you, sir?
Oh man, just sitting here doing a little bit of thinking, getting ready to have another beautiful discussion with family and friends and with you. Just thinking about some things, before we got on, we were just kind of tossing some topics, subjects back and forth,
Yep.
and we're going to talk about dictating standards,
Yep.
and it's very like you could tell when we're just kind of thinking alike because I had previously had a discussion about being a standard bearer for a particular community or circle that you may find yourself within.
Yep.
So, given the nature of the world that we live in today, in that it seems that standards and dictating and being to be resilient and uphold and where you stand on things in life, it can be difficult when over the long haul, if you don't have support, if you're not always being frequently strengthened, and if you have a tendency to faint. So given the world we live in, it's important. This is an important topic to talk about, and dictating your standards. One of the things about Two Shy Guys on the Mic is that we hope to resonate and talk with those of you out there who have the mindset, the heart, who have the desire to pursue something greater in your life, to actually pursue and maximize the optimal capabilities or potential
Yep.
that each of you all may possess. So that's one of the things we always pound on when it comes to dictating standards. So you got to dictate to Facebook. Hey, I want my fair share of friends out there. I see you, Mark Zuckerberg, on their live stream and talking to the Senate. I want to make sure I get mine in, right? I know you getting yours in. But yeah, Facebook did set that limit. But the thing about it is you can also dictate your standards by making sure you up that following mark. You can get that. And then also, when it comes to dictating your standard on the Facebook platform and kind of hacking it, is making sure that you set up a public profile business page, but just make it your public version of your private profile. And that way you can jack up your friend limit and your reach. And it's important when it comes to dictating your standards in life.
Yeah, Kevin's
And
the
then
most
also,
popular shy guy. I just want to say that.
who's that?
I said Kevin's the
Who's the
most
most?
popular shy guy.
Just because I'm dictating my standards online. Back in the day, the shy guy, he was shy and nobody knew it. He went to work, he came home. There's like, Kevin over in apartment one, Like, I ain't know anybody lived there in apartment one. I ain't never seen nobody come back. I ain't never seen nobody come out and leave. Well, look online. Look up his name online. Oh, he's all over the place. He's on YouTube. He's on the Facebooks because he's dictating his standards of what it means to be a shy guy in the 21st century. No longer is a shy guy relegated to the darkness.
I'm not relegated to the corner anymore. I'm in the middle of the floor now.
You can still find me on the couch in the dark with the TV light just glowing in my face. But at nighttime, I can transform into awkward man on the YouTubes and on the Facebooks and on the Instagrams. So just talking about dictating your standards and making sure that you're the one that sets the level that you want to reach in your life. It doesn't mean it's going to happen overnight. It doesn't mean that you're not going to make mistakes, feel like you're in a rut. It doesn't mean that you're not going to experience and go through some things in life that is going to make you feel like, you know what, I just don't feel like I'm progressing. But just make sure that you cultivate, and we're here to help you cultivate the mindset of strength, resiliency, and that you have a community of people that stand behind your back, and that we're meeting here on a regular basis. We're trying to make this a nightly thing. So we're meeting, and we're just in the cipher, just strengthening each other, because if you don't know this for sure, that as soon as you step out the door, the elements that be the world that you live in, by design, is designed to wear you out and empty your pocketbook and make sure you're nice and diseased before you get out of here. It's designed to use you up. That's a term that psychopaths like to use you up. Psychopaths don't like to just kill you. They like to siphon you off. They like to strangle you, bring you back a little bit. You know, they like to slowly see you back. That's pretty morbid design.
That's pretty morbid.
It is pretty morbid, but that's the truth of reality. This is the world we live in. And as I'm talking, I'm thinking, I got this picture of this one person this one customer I ran into today, and I don't know what it is about certain types, but there's some truth to be said about certain stereotypes and I got a vibe from this one. So that's what sent me on the Jeffrey Dahmer morbid trail.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah. You just don't know who you're around half the times, but you got to dictate your standards so that you don't acquiesce or be subject to somebody else's standards in today's time. Now, real quickly before you come on, I know when you grab the mic, it's hard for me to get the mic back.
He said, "I'm a mic hog." I got you.
No, I'm just saying, you know, go ahead. Let me get all my stuff out before he's like, yo, let me get on the mic. I'm like, bruh, come on, man. I got some flows too, man.
Like I'm hogging the cipher.
You know, I had a situation that came to conclusion today, which kind of prompted me to have the thought about, you know, it's often quipped that ignorance is bliss.
Right.
Bliss. And ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is very costly in today's world. Ignorance is made up of ignore. And ignore is to intentionally, purposefully not pay attention to. So in the world today, it's not in your best interest to be ignorant. If you have the means to not be ignorant, it can really cost you. And the older you get, and the more and this is going back to the theme of leveling up. If you want to level up in this world, you have to do whatever it takes to not be ignorant. Whether it be join the group Wakanda when it comes to your finances and where things are headed as far as the internet of money and the internet of all things is concerned. Whether it be, you know, you watch Two Shy Guys on a mic and we just talk about things that revolve around self-improvement, self-education, We talk about taking care of your body and wholeness. We talk about we talk about relationships. We talk about just about everything. And whether you just watch some of these other beautiful people on here, whether it be Trey and Shambra, Miss Mulder, and all the other people here with their expertise. So this is how you broaden your knowledge, distill understanding, so that you can have nuggets of wisdoms that will help you dictate your standards on what you want to set your life up in the present and continue to build onto in the future. I'll go ahead, man. You got it. I'm gonna turn the bass up for you.
All I was ready to do is actually get to some of the comments.
Yeah.
And one of the things, I'll start with Mo's comment. He was saying, like, with, raise the bar and the tide will also rise. And then Miss Dr. Mulder, she said Jesus is the standard. And again, so we'll get to that as well. And Mo said, set the pace, and those who want to keep up will push you to do better. And also, and one of the things I wanted to get to was Tiandra. She said, how do you get past the fear of stepping out on faith? I'll read Chris's, and then I'll get back to that. Chris said he's the crypto vegan. Hey, bro, I don't know if you was the crypto vegan before me, so it might be a challenge. Show your resume, brother. Show your resume. Nah, it's all good.
I think somebody's throwing down the gauntlet.
Nah, it's all good. It's all good. Definitely.
Okay.
Glad to have him here.
I was trying to be instigator there. Go ahead.
But yeah, so one of the things we're talking about, and I'll address Tiandra's and even some of the other comments, setting your own standard. Kevin was thinking about from a different perspective than I was, but we're actually on the same page, because I was thinking of it from the standpoint of dictating what your life is about, dictating the level of life that you would live. For Shambra, like she said, Jesus is the standard. And again, that's if you so choose. Some people have different standards that they choose to do all kinds of things, right? But again, if that's your choice, then you make sure that you do that, right? You make sure that you dictate what your life is going to be. You dictate the rules in which you live by. And where I was going with it was from a standpoint of us as a collective, the people on here watching. Okay. The people on here that communicate, the 99% have you, right? The 99%, start dictating your standard. Dictating your standard could be anything based around what you value. My man Chris, plant-based eating. Hey, then get with others that value plant-based eating, because guess what? Then you can grow that. You can grow that community. You can grow the resources in which that community has to glean from, and we can do that together. And of course, you mentioned Wakoinda. We always talk about finances and money, and the reason why I'm into cryptocurrency personally is because I believe in setting your own standard of what value is, right? And if all of us set a standard, say that we decide that Legos is the new way to go. We're going to exchange Legos. We're going to drop everything else, because if we all decide that that's the standard, then guess what? It becomes the standard. Everything else doesn't matter. And that's something that we have to realize, right, is that we have the power to dictate how we live our lives. And as a collective and as a nation, the more people that we can get to think on the same vein, that thinking, it becomes a juggernaut, like you always talk about, right? It starts steamrolling, it starts rolling, and it picks up momentum to where it's like, you know what? You believe all things can be possible, right? Because all things are possible to him that believe it. But again, if you don't believe in it, then you don't have the faith to set the standard up. And it takes a lot of bravery sometimes, because you're going against the norm. This is going back to Tiandra's point of stepping out on faith, right? The fear of not knowing. I know she's expressed she wanted to, do comedy and those kinds of things. That's an extremely naked thing, so to speak, right? Putting yourself out there before an audience, telling a joke, and if it falls flat, you're just looking crazy, right? But the more you do that, the more you decide to step out on the standards in which you decide to live, right? Then the more you'll get practice at it, the more you'll realize that it's attainable. But if you don't start setting those small things, right? Those things that you won't go back against, right? Using Shambra as her example, Jesus is your standard, then there's some things that you should never compromise on, period. And that's what the standard is, right? It has to live up to this level. whatever that level is for you, you have to make sure that no matter what happens, you're not going to decrease from that level. So that's the standard, that's the mark. If you don't hit it, then you're failing, right? And so a lot of us, sometimes we need to set, I don't even want to say realistic standards. I don't even want to say that, right? We need to set, I don't know, standards that we truly wholeheartedly believe in and are convicted about. That's what we need to think about. And a lot of times, again, going back to what we always say, you got to cultivate, who you are. You got to cultivate the ideals and principles in which you want to live by. And then that will start dictating what your standard is. Because if you don't know that, if you don't really know who you are or the things that you desire or the things that you truly want to be in this life, then those standards are very hard to really set. They're just dreams instead of goals. They're misdemeanors instead of convictions. You know what I mean? It's like, they don't hold weight in your life. So make sure that the standards you set are something that's really ingrained in which you live, ingrained in your mindset, ingrained in your environment, ingrained in your community. And again, sometimes those standards are slow to come by in terms of setting them and agreeing as a group. So it takes consensus. It takes, whittling away at some of the ideas around it, because they have to be strong in order to stand the test of time. I want to look at some of these.
Yeah, like
Go ahead, bro.
yeah, it takes time. These things don't happen overnight, and it's just that the current world that we live in, there's so many distractions and so many, we all have obligations and responsibilities that we have to attend to. So thus, it's even more essential that we take the free time at later at night, cut back on the Netflix maybe a few minutes and actually
I
get
had that
on.
discussion today. I had that discussion with somebody today.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I should
Yeah.
call her out. I'm gonna call her out too. I'm gonna call the person out.
Don't do that.
No, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna tag her. Matter of fact, I'm gonna tag her in this video, and I'm gonna call her out. It's Mariah Taylor, my little cousin.
Bro.
Yeah, I was over their house today, and I was getting on her about pursuing her goals, right? And she was like,
Yeah.
it really goes back to the conversation we had yesterday about understanding what those goals are, what your dreams and those kinds of things are. And I was getting on her about she needs to really follow through with her desires and actually learning what those desires are. You mentioned traveling.
Yeah.
And I told her specifically because I told her I'm gonna get on her. I get on her all the time, so this will not be a surprise if she sees this.
Gotcha.
But it's like sometimes we set so many barriers in our own head about what it takes to do something. She said she wants to travel the world. And I'm like, so what have you done to take the steps to do that? There's all kinds of ways you can travel this world. You can travel this world by being a stewardess. You can work at the airlines. You can work less than 20 hours, actually an equivalent of 20 hours a week at the airlines and get free flights. You can get a sales job. They'll fly you different places. There's all kinds of different things, right? You can work in a national corporation. You can, international corporation. You can basically just figure out ways to do nonprofit. Let's see, what's the Peace Corps? There's all kinds of scenarios, and this is just off the top of my head, just thinking about ways that you can travel if you don't have funds, right? And so
Yep.
a lot of times the things that's really just hindering us, and this, Tiandra, since you put yourself out there, thank you, little sis. I'll even touch on that, right? There's different ways you can break into comedy, right? There's different ways you can set small stages, set small audiences, maybe even audition for kids, maybe even write comedic writings. I know you like to write. Maybe it's, doing a variety of different things. Maybe you work with commercial agencies or different things like that. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to jump in. I was going to say even one thing you can do is just start doing it on your Facebook profile page.
Yeah.
If you have a fear about that, just limit go in to adjust your settings and limit your settings to just like friends or just to a few people that you feel safe and secure about doing it. Just come on, Two Shy Guys at a mic and give us some.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, just do a jump in show, have you come in and practice, and I'm serious about that. Because I know how it is to want to do something, and all it really takes is for somebody to grab you by the hand and say, "Let's go." And then once they get you pushed in that direction, then it's usually it's like being on training wheels, a bike. get me started, and then I'm ready to go. It's interesting that the comedy thing is real big on just online and social media right now, and it always will be. And it's one of the easiest things to do. It's akin to all the preachers and ministers in church that wait for their one sermon, when it's like, just get on Facebook and do your sermon every day.
Yeah.
If you're really called and it's that powerful, right? So if you want to try comedy, just do. You don't even have to live stream your face. You can just do your live stream your voice and just do it. And don't either ignore the comments, turn the comments off, and just go for it every day. Go hard at it for about a week.
Oh Lord. My man Blizzdom, he had a great comment. He said the best time to grow a tree is 20 years ago. The next best time is today.
Wow, man. That's a pop. Yeah.
It's like
and that goes back to a point that I was maybe hopefully wanting to get to later, and that I had recently finished the book. And the book was the nugget of the book was or is Crushing It.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
By Gary Vaynerchuk. And the nugget of the book is to take advantage of the times that we live in and the opportunities that's available easily if you have a passion and you want to pursue it, versus in times recent past, like in the 20th century, that wasn't the case. If you were, for the most part, you spend most of your time just trying to hedge out a meager existence.
Right.
But now we live in a time where you can get online and do your comedy, or you can do whatever you want to do. The opportunities available. So take advantage of these times, because they're not going to last forever. The gatekeepers aren't excited about the power and control that the people at the bottom of the pyramid now have, and are slowly or quickly grabbing back. There's always a struggle and a fight for control and dominance when it comes to culture and society. We're always in war. They even call it a culture war. So the culture wars is always in play. It's just whether you're cognizant of it or not. So just take advantage. Like my man said, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago or today. So
yeah, exactly.
Just get moving on that. I had to recently make some moves to where it's like, hey, either do this or don't do it. So I had to go out yesterday and actually make some physical moves and exert some physical energy, and making sure that I could stop robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yep.
Because one day I'm gonna show Peter's house. Peter's gonna have a gun waiting on me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so, I'm trying to get to some of these comments. The comments.
All right, go ahead. Yeah, my bad.
No, you're good. It was spitting out pretty fast. Trying to see where we left off. My man, Chris, he was talking about plant-based eating. Yeah, we saw that. And then Maurice said, make sure you surround yourself with those that add value and not necessarily keep up with the Joneses. This was to Tiandra about her thing. One thing I want to say to Tiandra, you put yourself out there, which is a good step. The good thing about like what Kevin is saying about getting out there right now is the fact that if you're not funny, you won't get any views anyway. So
nobody cares.
Yeah, you can just let the crickets die, you can delete it, whatever, but at least do it, right? And then it's like, well, that one didn't fly, so I'll go to the next one. Yeah, I got plenty of terrible videos online of some stuff I've done, and I just leave it because I don't care. Anyway,
just leave it.
And then in addition to what Maurice was saying, he said, and I guess the people around you to hold you accountable to those standards. And that's something that's very key, especially if we have standards as a group. That helps keep us all accountable. And again, in the standards in which I'm talking about is things of value sometimes, meaning that it's like, you know what? Right now, my whole focus is I'm just going to wear shorts all year long because I no longer see the value of pants, right? And then and if we get enough people to value value shorts, then pants become obsolete. And this is what I'm saying in terms of creating your own standards, create your own standards of living. I know Josh and my man Chris were talking about growing food. If you decide it, in Blizdom, he mentioned not being a consumer only, but producing
Yeah.
something. So if your standard of living is that now you're going to cultivate and grow your own food, then guess what that does to a lot of the large chains and things that feed us products that are to our detriment?
They have to adjust
They
or go out
go
of
away.
business.
They just go
And that's
away.
what you see happening now.
And that's the thing. And we have the power to control that. So that's kind of where I was going with the whole standards aspect is we have the, as a collective, as an individual, we have the power to control these things. A lot of the things that we get infuriated about, a lot of the things that we don't like in this world, it's up to us. If we just change
Yeah.
our own standard of living, right? If we don't like our government, guess what? It's up to us. We're the ones that put them in office. As a whole, we do, whether you like it or not. And so, if we as a whole start changing the standards of what we're going to basically, hold people accountable, we're going to set standards for the minimal viable product of living, meaning that we're not going to reduce beyond a certain point. Then it's up to us to do that as a group and as a collective. Let's see, Dr. Mulder, she said set standards that stretch you so that you are always growing. And that's definitely a good thing because you always want to be progressing or adding some kind of value to this world, right? Make sure that your standards allow you to give back to the the world, the earth, or the people around you. Make sure that you're constantly adding value and instead of detracting or taking away value from other people. So that's
Yeah, they go.
go ahead.
Yeah, they go. One of the principles that we always sign off with is that the standard of when we have these live streams and the communities contributing and we're all communicating, we're trading in time and energy. We're trading attention,
Yeah.
and we hope that the attention and the time that is spent. We hope that the value is that you get more than what you actually give. So yeah, and just we set that as one of our standards, and that you've said in times recent past about you're adamant about not giving somebody else shine if they're not contributing to the collective in some
Yeah.
valuable means, or it's your intention is not to monetize, which means your intention for the collective is not to set it up as a burrow to be shot, to be shooting in.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's really real, as we're building an online community that has actual rewards in the real world, in the analog world. So this is one of the standards that is set whenever you come on Two Shy Guys at a Mic and contribute.
Yeah, and this is true. And it's really a thought collective, right? The standards that
Yeah,
we
it's a
set
mastermind.
are all up here, all
It's
here.
a mastermind.
Yeah, it's it. And so when we're talking about again, this is not some cultist type thing that we're talking about. It's literally talking about the way you live your life, set the standard, and again, say for example, there are community standards that you can set. We're talking about growing food, farming, buying local. That's a drive. That's a thing for communities. But there's also a personal standard, right? It's like, you know what? I'm gonna treat myself better. I'm gonna start living healthy. I'm gonna start doing checkups. I'm gonna check my body. Me and my cousin, we were talking today, and there was a friend of ours, man, dude, we always admired this dude for his health, and he had a lump on his head that he never checked, right?
Uh-huh.
Dude was like, I'm talking about like the epitome of health. I'm talking about he would win like all kinds of fitness challenges. He would win tennis challenges. Any challenge that came up, he would literally win it. He was that guy. But he had a lump that he left go unexamined, and it ended up being cancer, and he died. I mean,
No stuff.
this was the healthiest dude I've ever seen, right? And he ended up dying. And and again, so now you can. So I was thinking from that, it's like, man, we have to examine our bodies, right? We have to, set a standard of a modicum of health that will make sure that we check everything. Women do breast exam. Even some men have fatty tissue in their chest that they need to check. So it's a standard of living in terms of optimal health. Go ahead. I know you wanted to say something.
Yeah, well, we're hitting the same subject from different angles. Of
Yeah.
course, you came in from the collective, I came in from the individual. Now we're talking about the individual,
Yep.
and just talking about just implementing these things at a personal level. Because we do it at a personal level, then it resonates to the community
Yep.
and it attracts more people who are attracted to what you're doing, to that type of behavior and habits that you've instilled. Now, just talking about the health thing, you done stepped on my soapbox now, right? So yeah, like you said, the breast examinations, those things, that's very well talked about. But another thing while we're on this health thing is the prostrate thing for younger men now. I mean, men in their 20s and 30s are having prostrate issues. And I was talking to a friend this weekend at church, and he was just telling me how yeah, it's kind of nobody really's been talking about it or harping on it, but it actually needs to be brought to the forefront when it comes to the African American men in our organization. But not only he just talked about the organization,
Yeah.
but really it's our nation, our population, our segment at large, and that we need to make sure that we take care of men need to take care of their prostrate and learn how to reduce the size of their prostrate and get that back in line with respect to akin to like breast cancer for females. It's just not really harped on when it comes to prostrate because it's I guess men are like I'm good, but
Yeah.
he told me the story of one deacon that was like big, he was strong, and like you said, he was big and strong till that one time he went to the hospital, he never came out.
Yep.
And you talk about epitome of somebody big, strong, you don't want to mess with him, but he goes to the hospital and never comes out, all because of prostrate cancer and not wanting to let go of ego
Yep.
and just say, hey, I need to get this checked out and take care of this. So do what you got to do to implement and set standards in your life and tell yourself, you know what, I'm not going to step down from the mess. I can't. I
Yep.
can't afford to.
Yep.
And the people that love me,
Tiandra said,
the
please
people
get
that love
checked
me and
out,
I love,
especially for women. She had no major symptoms before her heart attack. And this was last year in 2017. And she said it was a big one. And again, that's the thing. You have to start taking care of your health. You have to start checking those things. And again, we're talking about standards of living, right? Setting a
yeah,
standard, setting a standard in which you want to live by. You have to dictate that. It's not something that's passive. It's something that you have to definitely dictate and set a standard for your living. Let's see. Yeah. He said prostate. Yeah, definitely. He said make a Raven coin wallet. Okay, Chris, I'll do that. I'll do that for you, brother. But yeah, definitely. Hold on, my comments are going crazy. He said, "You really do it. It's very important." Yeah, and that actually gets me like you said, going from the individual to the collective, and that's something like you said, especially for the African American males in African American churches. This is one way in which we could definitely serve our congregations is really talking about health issues that arise, and not only that. Here's another standard, right? A standard of healthcare, setting the standard in which you'll go to healthcare because definitely disadvantaged populations, they have poor health care because they have poor health care choices and poor health care options. And so this is something that people can definitely start doing by, like you say, your ignorance can kill you. If you don't,
yeah, you just
yeah, your ignorance can kill you. If you don't know about what's going on in your own body, that could literally be the death of you. Not to be morbid or anything like that, but it literally can be the death of you. So you have to really pay attention to your body, pay attention to your aches and your pains, pay attention to your diet, pay attention to the composition of your body. Because if your body is changing at a rapid pace in terms of weight gain or weight loss, and you don't know the reasons why, then that's definitely a sign that you need to go to the hospital, get checked out. If you don't have any physician friends, find some.
yeah,
Definitely research. I know we talked about researching when it comes to your own health, making sure you know how to treat your own body in terms of diet, exercise, things that you put in and out of your body. But definitely get a medical opinion, get several opinions, which is another standard. Don't just take the first opinion of somebody, especially if they're not listening to you. If your healthcare provider does not listen to any information that you tell them, then get another doctor. Find another one. I don't care if you're on Medicaid, Medicare, whatever. Find someone else. Go to another state or city if you have to, because this is your life. It can be very important. And then again, how this works in terms of the collective, we get more people to participate, then we can get better physicians. We can basically reach out to the crowd of, the small nation, so to speak, and they can recommend us to people that really care about us and will help take care of us. I know there's some other.
Yeah. And just giving, talking about the community at large, it would behoove everybody on this live stream to actually start a live stream in their area of expertise, and we all start a circle, we all just feed off each other and start that circle, that collective that we can glean from and use it in our personal lives. Healthcare is a big one. And then setting a standard in your home environment is another one. Yes. I started my journey of putting my own personal garden of Eden together. I've been meaning to go for a while, but I actually made the jump, and you could definitely tell the difference. I had one plant, but now it's got some friends, right? Yep. And it's amazing how the one plant that I had looked like it was on this last leg. And then it was hurt. I ain't gonna lie, it was hurting. But then I brought in some other plants and put it around it. Plant is touching the plant next to it, and then it's also like green. It's like real vibrant green and kind of perked up. So it's just amazing the world that we live in. That you want to set the standard in your own home, in your personal life when it comes to your eating, when it comes to the environment that you set. And it's amazing talking about the environment, because one of my sons had a friend over, and he walked in and was like, wow, it feels good in here. He's like, it looks all nice in here and stuff. And I was just looking at it like, yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah. But popping your head. Those are words you want to hear when somebody comes in your presence, is that, wow, you're warm. Yeah. You feel, for the first time I see you, you seem like somebody I could trust. Or, that's the kind of standard you want to set as far as your name, your reputation, your presence, what you bring, your charisma. So these are standards that we hope you would want to set and in your personal life that will help the collective, the community.
Yeah. Trey said, what are you planting, man? What kind of plants are you growing?
Man, I don't even know. I still got I just got like some, I don't even know what they are, man. I just brought them.
You just got some random seeds or just some random plants? He's like, just green life, right?
No, I brought some plants. Yeah, I brought some plants. A couple of weeks ago, I brought some seeds. I brought some beets. I brought some carrots. I brought some kale. What else I buy? I bought something else. I planted them, but ain't nothing happening yet. So I didn't say I had green thumbs. I said I was trying. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Shout out to my wife because she mentioned the gardening and stuff. I was like, you got to grow something. She's like, I got all these plants in the house, which actually I was oblivious to. So shout out to my wife. She was actually doing it, So I was getting on there, and I was like, oh well, I can't say that. You actually are growing something. Anyway. Let's see. We got some other comments. Chris was talking about cholesterol only exists in animal products, which is true. You'll send some now. I don't know what you're talking about, Chris, but I'm assuming that's Raven coins. Let's see. My man Joshua said we're now at that age, and this is true. Joshua, I'm glad to give my age. I'm in my I don't really like giving my age too much, because then you look up my birthday. I'm one of those guys. Anyway, but I'm old. Yeah, I look young, but I'm old. I know I look younger than Kevin, but I'm older than Kevin.
I just got to work, man. The man just beat me down, man.
My man Blizzum said vegan cookbooks in the group. Yeah, my wife is shout out to Shauna again. She's actually writing a book. She's written down over 20 recipes thus far for her book. She's got some more recipes she's gonna add. So she actually is writing a vegan cookbook. Shout out to her. And then also, Dr. Mulder, she talked about mental health as well. Mental health affects your physical health. And again, this is not like a vitamin,
Yes.
right? It everything you gotta like really set a standard for your whole way of living, because if one thing is out of whack, the rest of it will get out of whack. So if you're not mentally sharpening yourself or taking care of your mental health, whether that be, I know somebody mentioned stress. Jessica, she talked about stress. Tiandra said manage your stress. And we talk about stress a lot, distress versus eustress. Distress is the negative stress that really tears away at your body. The cortisone, whatever, that it injects into your bloodstream, which is definitely bad for you. And also the eustress, which is the good stress, right? The good thing. Exercise is a form of eustress. Yeah, sexual activity is a form of eustress if done in the right way. I'll put that caveat there, because don't you all be out
Yeah.
there getting diseases and then having
Yeah. No.
mental calamity because you're trying to get with this person and that person. Nah, that's distress for real. People don't like
Yeah,
to
it
talk
is
about it, but it's
discouraging.
real. Yeah, that's real
Yeah,
distress.
it's interesting in that the older you get, as far as females, from a male perspective, the older you get, the more you want to be reserved. Depending on the more you want to be strategic about the big O. You just don't want to be out there. You know what I'm saying? So this is something that you, like you said, you have to be mindful of. You put the caveat on there. We always put the caveat on there, just so you know the perspective where we come from. Good, bad, or indifferent about it.
Oh, cool. My man Joshua said, let him know what seeds you want within reason, of course, and he'll send you some seeds from veggies he grew last year. Hey, Josh, I want some veggies. I'm claiming that
What?
right now. As my dude, he's in the running group.
I want
Before
some
Kevin
too.
says anything, I want some. Forget Kevin. You see this? The community's breaking down already. We're
See
getting
how it
greedy.
is.
We're fighting each other. No, but
Oh man.
that's awesome, Josh. We definitely appreciate that. And whatever you growing, like I'm definitely open for it. Like I said, my wife, she made a comment. She said, I didn't like her plants before. Hey, I do now. I respect it. I respect the process. I'm definitely not an analog person. And that means anything that's outside of a computer. And that's one of the things I was going to set a standards for while we were talking, is that I will become more analog in my approach, meaning that I'll actually do more things outside of just a computer screen. So I don't have to sit down all day. So I don't have to focus on the digital side of things. I want to definitely get out and get in life, get my hands dirty and that kind of stuff.
Talking
Definitely.
about cooking and stuff.
Yeah, what I used to cook all the time actually before I was working crazy hours. I used to cook all the time. I had no problem with that. But definitely, if my mom's on here, she
That
said,
that
"Hey
that
son,
could
love
be
you. I
a
love you
standard.
too,
I know
mom."
for me,
You get those mom comments. What do you say? I can't, you broke up,
yeah,
Kevin.
that could be a setting of a standard in a lot of people's household. I know for me, when I just talking about health, when I first switched over, it was a resetting of the standard. My standard used to be of going out, not packing my lunch,
Yep.
always, being caught unprepared. Switching over to dictating my own standards, saying I'm not going to follow the trends of my work culture or the
Yep.
people around me, but I'm going to step out and I'm going to actually learn how to cook a little bit and learn how to take control and be proactive and set the standard of just being proactive about life and taking my health, wealth, and all this other stuff into more greater control.
Let's
He
see.
was a great cook.
Yeah.
Who said that?
Oh, he's talking about me. She's talking about me. I said I
Okay.
used to cook. Yeah, like you're freezing up on me. Yeah, like I said, I quit cooking. Uh, like just I think about it, I'm still at work right now. So they kind of hurts in terms of making sure that you cook for the family. But yeah, man, just
Yeah.
again, just to get back on where we were, just setting a standard for your life, for the way you live, for your health, for your community, for the things that you as a community value. There's all kinds of things that you can do, and you don't have to let the world dictate what that is for you or your group of people, right? we can change these standards. We can change even finances. Again, I'm real big on that. I'm real big on the financial side because we're letting everybody else's imaginary money dictate what our life is. Just think about that.
Man.
Just think about that. We're letting everybody else's imaginary money dictate our resources. Let that sink in when you start thinking about finances and what finances truly are, what money truly is, and then you'll realize that you've been duped, you've been sold a bill of goods that's worth nothing. And so we have to start thinking about this, thinking
It's
about
well,
what do you say? Go ahead.
we're just talking about money. I was going to say it's actually an energy unit. They'll print off a piece of paper. They'll print off an IOU, and then they'll have each and every one of us go out every day and spend our finite energy and time, and then they capture that within that piece of paper, and then they trade on it, and then they don't pay us back what they took from us. They even tax us on what they take from us, which is ridiculous when you think about the scheme of things. But the green piece of paper ain't nothing, but the time and energy that I put into getting that green piece of paper, I want it back. And I want it back, and I want interest on it too. Can I get that, please?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
again, and that's why again, ignorance can kill you. When we talked about that,
Man.
I'm telling you, when you start like looking at the world for what it is, looking at the information, this information is readily available. This is not something that we're talking about that is like so far out there. No, this is real. This is finance 101. This stuff that we're
Yeah.
fighting and killing each other over on a continuous basis is absolutely it's imaginary, right?
It's
So
imaginary.
and then when we talk about cryptocurrencies and we talk about a unit of actual measure, some of these units aren't even measured. You don't even realize it. It's like if I can print something at infinite, at just keep going. I can just keep just
Keep going.
then where's the real value there, right? And so again, setting standards. This is the whole point. I don't want to sidetrack into that, but setting standards, set standards on your living. Really take time out. We talk about meditating. I know one of the young ladies mentioned that earlier, Jessica, I believe. She mentioned meditating to reduce stress and those kinds of things. But we need to really meditate to reduce the friction of this world, to reduce all the static, right? Static versus noise, to reduce all the static that is going on in the world in terms of information, misinformation, being overworked, being depressed, being stuck in places that we don't necessarily want to be, being enslaved to debt, being enslaved to our bad habits, being enslaved to the manipulation of markets, whatever. Really take a time to step out of that by just cutting off the television or even reading a book, reading the history of how these things got to be. It'll take time for you to really get a full understanding, but you can start getting a perspective on the life that you live and actually why you live it, why you're in the particular location where you are, and why things are going on the way they are. And you'll realize that, man, it's the row your boat scenario. Life is but a dream, and then you can actually wake up from it, right? You can take your own blue pill of information, your own blue pill on health,
Red pill.
the red pill, whatever. You can take a pill, in terms of the information that'll
Yeah.
wake you up and really take a step back out of this world and just really look at what you value, right? I know going back to Dr. Mulder's standpoint, if Jesus is your standard, then live that out. Live that out and know what living that out means. Know what the ins and out of that actually includes. Know what it doesn't include. Those kind of
Well,
things. Go ahead.
I was going to say, since you brought up Jesus Christ, we just days with
Freezing on me,
Easter
brother.
and passed over for some, and feast of unleavened bread for others, and that when you think about having Jesus Christ as your standard, he lived in both worlds. He lived in this reality, but he also lived in another reality that allowed him to perform and live free of this current state that we live in. So that's one of the things as far as like that kind of gets me or kind of sends me down a trail is that after the initial acceptance of crossing over and what Jesus Christ has done. Now the message should be, how do you live that out and walk that out? How do you live according to the standards of freedom, untethered in every area of your life? How do you do that? So that's one of the things that pushes and that I'm passionate about when it comes to having these live streams and stuff, because that's really at the core of it. Is that I hate slavery, and I like to see people just do good. So just talking about setting and dictating standards, and
Yeah, it's funny.
yeah. Well, I was going to say something about meditation. You brought up meditation, and that it's very important that we meditate today, because meditation is essential to your mental health, and which affects all of the other areas of your health in your life too. And it's also a superpower. It's considered a superpower if you can meditate. If you have the ability
focus
to focus and separate and actually some quiet time without distraction, that's called deep work, and that's considered a superpower these days. So much more that if you practice that over the course of your lifetime, within the next couple of generations, you will be considered in transition to a separate species of human being. That's where we're headed, as far as just being able to meditate and free yourself from distraction. And I was kind of just thinking about the article that you sent me, and then thinking about some other things too when I made that statement.
Yeah. And the reason, I know it sounds weird what Kevin just said, but it's actually, if you've ever seen the movie Gattaca, that will kind of explain what he's talking about. Look up the movie Gattaca and you'll see what we're talking about. I don't necessarily want to go down that vein, but one thing I do want to say, because I saw a great heard a great quote from Nina Simone, and again, we're talking about standards, and she said, being without fear is what freedom is truly about. Being free is to be without fear. So
hey, my phone's about to die.
Okay. So Kevin's phone's about to die. So we'll use that as a signal to wrap up. But definitely one of the things we want to do is help you set a standard of eliminating fear so that you can live a free life. So with that, Jedi mind tricks. With that, definitely we want to wrap up. We appreciate everybody's comments, everybody's participation. We pray that something was said that will encourage you, that will be of benefit to you. Josh, I'm gonna definitely reach out to you, my brother. Definitely want to connect with you on what you're doing plant wise. I know that you're a great runner. I've been keeping up with you from that vein. Anyway, we appreciate everybody. We thank you. We love you. Again, set your standards of living, set your standards of thinking, set the standards of your culture, and everybody definitely work together. That's really what it's all about. It's about all of us participating and working together, coming together in a unified way, in a way of peace, love, and strength. Of course, there will be disagreements, but I mean, so what? Yeah, exactly. So what? That's how we get to real resolutions. That's how we get to real solutions to eradicate some of the problems that we have actually allowed to exist because of our low standards of living as a nation. So anyway, go ahead, brother, wrap us up. Hey, please like and share. Please definitely like and share what we're doing. If you think we gave some good information, definitely like and share, because you guys share great information as well. So the more people that can see the feed and the comments that you guys have made, the better.
Yes, Two Shy Guys at a Mic. This is your man, J. Kev.
Leif Taylor.
Here. We just appreciate y'all coming in and showing us some love, giving some time and attention. We don't take it for granted and hope that return on investment is worth more than what you've given us. We love you, and we're excited and happy about the community that we've begun to orchestrate and build. And we're just glad to just have a forum, which is all this is a forum with faces. A forum with faces.
Yeah.
In which we hopefully all are learning to brand and build so that we can be bad and bougie. Okay. Signing off. Peace and love. All right.
All right, take care of everybody.